Ni hao, привет, and welcome to Harbin in northeastern China. It's the borderlands between Russia and China. An interesting place, a fairly unknown place, where the two cultures come together and sometimes clash. Today, we're going to be exploring that on my very last stop across China. So this is probably the most famous landmark here in Harbin, a big Russian Orthodox style church. Remember how I told you that Chinese people love to cosplay as like different minority groups? This is Chinese people cosplaying as Russians. People up here in northern China are a bit taller. They say it's the Mongolian blood mixed in. Who knows? And this is what's going on inside the church. Apparently it's not being used for mass anymore. Apparently they found an actual Russian guy to play the violin. I don't know why he's playing the violin, but there you go. So Harbin is actually China's most northern major city. It's up here in Dongbei in the northeast. It's also the coldest city. They have winter festivals that people from around China love to come and visit. And a very interesting fact is that up until, I believe, the 1950s, the majority of the population in Harbin were actually people of Russian descent. It was almost a Russian city. Of course, many years have passed since then, and all of those Russians have left and gone back to Russia. But the Russian influence is still pretty strong in the city. There are many buildings like that one across the street that were built during the Russian period, and they're still standing. And the city likes to play up its Russian past. You can see that there is a Russian souvenir store over there. There's lots of them in this area. So this is俄罗斯进口吗？对，都是进口。Okay. So we have a Russian superstore. Russia. Apparently, the Russian import store has been sanctioned also. Здравствуйте. 你会说俄语吗？哦，不会，好的。有人会说吗？没有。没有，好的。No one speaks Russian at the Russian import store. Oh. I don't recall seeing this while I was in Russia. Stalin's personal wine brand. He's actually got two of them. 我想问一下，中国人最喜欢买的东西是什么？巧克力。巧克力？我这不是伏特加吗？有伏特加，然后巧克力、蜂蜜。OK。但是中国人会喝伏特加吗？很少。很少，比较喜欢白酒。对。There you go. Chinese people like Russian chocolates, or what they think are Russian chocolates, anyway. In fact, it's rumored that a lot of these Russian products are actually produced inside of China, in the Russian border towns, places where they actually still have people of Russian ethnicity. Guess what we're gonna do in this video? That's right, we're gonna go and check out those towns. It's just a little bit creepy. Do you see that up there? I don't know if you can make it out. That, unexpectedly, is a Star of David. This building right here used to be a synagogue. In the early 1900s, while the Russians were doing pogroms against the Jews, many actually immigrated here to Harbin. And then, just like the Orthodox Church, they've converted it into a weird tourist attraction. 你好，你知道吗？以前哈尔滨有了多少犹太人？
不太清楚。
不太清楚。OK。你不是犹太人吗？我开玩笑的。我知道。For what I read on Wikipedia, anyway, it was something like 40,000 Jews that were in Harbin at its peak. Are they playing what I think they're playing in there? It's Titanic all day in the synagogue. 你们知道这个歌吗？不知道。关于一个船，然后那个船就被破坏了。During the Mao years, the Jews, they left. Some went to Shanghai during World War II, but many eventually just moved on to America or Israel or other places. And there are many places around China that just have like this weird, unknown history, population groups that no longer exist. 这是中国做的还是俄罗斯做的？中国做的。对。Up here in Harbin, they even have kvass, that malty, weird drink. Still not really sure what that's made of, but they have it. 哎，你好。你看起来一个俄罗斯的奶奶。
你看起来像俄罗斯的奶奶。啊。
他们也会穿这个。So here you go. In Harbin, they have babushkas.
中国耶。
我知道你是中国的。对对。
这个来一个啊。
这是哈尔滨特色吗？
对对对。
OK， 拿一个。
你是美国的？
对对对。我喜欢你的外套。
他喜欢你的外套。
很大的。
军大衣。
看起来俄罗斯的。We're just passing around wieners here. 你有好多香肠。
好多香肠高呢。
对对。
又粗大，蛮
你们有没有这粗？有没有这大？
那美国的那个肠。
有没有这个大？这个大啊！
我们在说什么肠？
我说你们美国的肠有没有这个大？
哦，你说你们的肠比较大。
对，你们那头，你们美国有没有这么大的肠？
你们那边的。
I don't know what conversation we're having here. 我们有 hot dogs， 你们知道吗？
不知道。
热狗。
热狗。
对，在热狗对比较小。
那咱们这有的小的。
对，你们这里的比较大。
对，太小了。
恭喜你们。All right, here is Harbin's most famous Russian dish. Apparently, this does not look appetizing in any way, but. All right, tastes like a hot dog, so that's good. Not like those sweet, weird sausages that you find all over the rest of the country. And you see there's so many Russian souvenir stores, Russian import products, supposed Russian import products. Here's another one right here. It's just one after the other. Starting to think these stores are like a front for the Chinese mafia. This region actually is somewhat infamous for producing gangsters, including the one who ran that horrible area in Laos that we went to. And here is a monument along the banks of the Songhua River to all the people that have died in floods. Floods are a big problem in China, and then just behind it is the actual river. They've got this fun little night scene set up. Some flashing lights. It's like we're in a nightclub. Oh look, here's some more flashing lights over here. Wait, no, sorry, that's the police. All right, good morning from another day in Harbin in northern China. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna get out of the city. We're gonna go out into the countryside. And we're gonna go, I don't know if hunt is the right word, but we're gonna go looking for Russian Chinese people. This is a very interesting concept. There are people in China of Russian ancestry. They look like Russians, ethnic Russians, but they don't speak Russian. They're Chinese, 100% Chinese. And they're one of the 56 recognized minority groups of China. So, I'm excited. It's not gonna be easy. There's not many of them, but we're gonna go looking for them. Let's go. 是新的地铁站吗？是的。Yes. Great. Building a new metro station over here. There it goes. One thing you can never take away from China, they're always building stuff. About to take a very small plane. So, no waiting online here. So to get up to the area where the Russian Chinese live, it's all in the far north of the country, the farthest northern point. While I'm doing this monologue, I'm losing my spot. I had two options. I could take a 12-hour train ride, or I could take a 1-hour flight. I chose the 1-hour flight. Okay, 等一下. All right. You almost gotta fight people to get onto a flight here. You should need a ball bag.
PM temperature minus 1 degree centigrade is about 50.5 kilometers to the pan. For your safety, please remain seated until the fasten seatbelt cycles off.
This message in English is basically just for me.
Bye.
This is definitely the most remote airport I've ever flown into in China. Okay, Ooh, it's really starting to get cold. Not sure why these other people are flying here. I guess they live here. So we are now in what I think is the most northern city of China, Heihe. Here you are. We are in Heihe, Black River, which is in Heilongjiang province, Black Dragon River province. A lot of black things in this province. Not bad for $20, huh? It does smell a little bit like cigarette smoke, even though there's a no smoking sign. Actually, why is there an ashtray if there's a no smoking sign? I don't know. Because it's China, that's fine. I mean, seriously, this is not bad. Good value for money. Look, we even get a view of the outdoors. Hey, quick interruption. Got something to tell you. Have you ever thought about why we always hear more about China retaliating against US sanctions and how their economy is tanking, but never when they do something good for the world? Well, there's certainly a reason for that. But it's because Western media dominates what we see and what we don't, shaping our worldview based on their own priorities. This leaves other important stories buried in the noise. When the West does weigh in, the focus tends to shift back to how it impacts their own priorities. The problem is, people tend to just stick with one or two news sources they're familiar with and miss out on different perspectives like this one. Now, staying informed is very important to me. It always has been. It's one of the reasons why I created this channel. And thankfully, I managed to find a small team on the same mission, Ground News. I've partnered with them for years now because their app and website gather the world's news in one place, even from sources right there in China, both propaganda and not so propaganda. So you can understand complicated issues from every perspective. You can check them out by scanning this QR code or at ground.news/sab. The link is below. China's influence is reshaping industries and geopolitics worldwide, yet the stories we hear about them often feel incomplete or one-sided. So one of my favorite features is the Ground News International Blind Spot feed that surfaces important global news the left or right aren't talking about. Seeing the bigger picture is the only way we could truly understand what's happening in the world and make informed decisions on the issues that matter. I think Ground News is the best tool to help you with that. For a limited time, you can get the same plan that I use every day for only half the price. So just go to ground.news/sab or scan this QR code to save 50% on their unlimited access Vantage plan, or gift it to a loved one this holiday season, and have more informed conversations on the issues dividing society. Very important. All right, so according to my research, the village with the Russian Chinese is about 3 or 4 hours away from here. So all I can do is just find somebody to drive me. And only in China can you just go on a taxi app and 2 seconds later there's a taxi showing up to drive you 3 hours away. China is a very unique country. Which one is it? 不是你。是你。
去边疆村旅游。
对的，差不多。因为我听说那边有俄族的人。
你是俄罗斯人？边疆村是俄罗斯的村。
其实我是美国人。
你美国人？那我就今天就陪着你就可以了吧？
可以的，可以的。
一路陪你。
可以的，可以的。你可以陪我。Just like that, got a driver and a tour guide.
你是美国人？
我是美国人。
那你会说俄语？那拉倒吧，那我就自己陪着了啊。您这个美国
He's asking me if he can bring his wife along. I said, yeah, sure. You want to bring your wife? Let's go.
我发现外国有人
周日都要学习。
对
Okay. So his wife can't come because his son
学习。
His son still has to study on a Sunday. There's no rest in Chinese schools.
在前面。
好的。He wants me to sit in front. He's very excited. This has to be the most exciting thing that's happened to him all month. We're very far north. We're almost at the furthest northern point that you can go in China. Not quite, but this is the northern border. And it's crazy, because when we started this trip across China, we came in to the furthest western border in Xinjiang. I still can't get over how, China on one end has a border with Kyrgyzstan and Afghanistan. Then on the other end, it's North Korea and Russia. This is something I've never seen before. You just have a bunch of shovels piled up here. Just grab one if you need it. I'm guessing this is for when it snows, which we're kind of lucky. In some parts of this province, it's already started snowing.
走了。
好的。
不是，你们的长相，人的长得，就人和人我们分不开。
分不开。
对。
这个。你不知道，如果。
是长得差不多。
OK， 你看不出来。
对，我以为一看你以为你是俄罗斯人呢。
你以为我是俄罗斯人？对，我大概大部分的来这边的人是。俄罗斯人，如果是白人的话，应该是俄罗斯人。
对，那美国人也有少。
对，来这边的美国人应该非常少。
对。
对，他是黑人。
他是纯黑人。
他是纯黑人。对。
科比布兰特。
科比也是纯黑人。
也是纯黑人，是不是？
对。
他们地位就高了呗，是不是？
是的。He's asking me if all these people are either full or half black people. I think it started because we were talking about Obama.
乔丹、科比都是我的偶像。
是你的偶像。
对，我也喜欢打篮球。
对。 小丹比詹姆斯好。
哎，这詹姆斯不行，詹姆斯不行。
They know the NBA out here. We stopped on the road to get some noodles. Haven't eaten all morning. We're going on this trip to meet Russian Chinese, but this is as Chinese of an experience as you can get. He was worried that I needed a fork. 你的面在哪里？
我的马上就来。看看好不好吃。呀，这挺厉害，用的挺溜。我给你录个视频啊。
你想拍视频，你可以拍。
好不好吃啊？
老外会用筷子。
老外会用筷子。
不是好。
好吃吗？
好吃，
好吃。
真好吃。这个面叫什么？
羊肉炒面。
羊肉炒面。为什么要放这个？
看他教你啊。
哦，这个 I don't think I could do that. No.
敢不敢？勇气。
Yeah, my man over here is about to have some vampire breath. This is a very rural area. It's the most rural area I've been to in China so far, I think. We've been stopped by the police because my driver just told me this is a routine border check. They took my passport. We're not waiting for it to come back. 他在问你我是不是美国人吗？
不是，他问你是不是俄罗斯人。
啊，
对，我说不是，我说是美国人。我说去旅游，去这个感受俄罗斯村的这个民俗风情。
So this is apparently the sign announcing the entrance to the village. It's called Bianjiang, the border city, the border village. And this is my surroundings right here. Farmland. Looks like wheat over there. A staple crop, the north of China. These are also some of the worst roads I've seen in China. So apparently this is the town center right here. And here you have, I should really know the names of these things, but these Russian doll things. I guess this is to symbolize the Russian culture of this village. But where are the people? Where are the Russians? 这是你的狗吗？啊。
哪儿的就是？
哦，我是美国人。
美国人啊？
啊，对，我刚到了。他看起来很年轻的，他有几个月
2个月了。
2个月。
小狗。你是纯俄罗斯族的吗？不是，我是第3代了。啊，你这第3代了啊？
第3代。
对，中国就这一个。
全中国只有一个。
对，他还挺。
哇，
第一村
唯一的俄民族的地方。
在推头不写的第一村嘛，俄罗斯第一村。
那是俄罗斯族啊？对。像考学啥的都加分吗？
加分。我儿子有俄罗斯有证，他有证。
My driver's doing all the interviewing here. 这些东西叫什么？
套娃。
好啊，
对，
都不行了。
这个外国友人要找他聊天。
Здравствуйте。
我家就有老太太说长得都
岁数大了
，90多了。
眼镜。
啊对，在这是什么东西啊？
给牛。
你要放在这里吗？
啊，喂牛。
进屋来。他能漏吗？
Kind of interesting though that like everybody in the town has the same house. I don't know if this was like a government initiative. Okay, hi. Hello again. 你好。
那你好呢？
你好，你好。Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте.
Ты не русская.
Я не русский. No, я говорю по-русски.
对他父亲是辽宁的，
哦，辽宁的，
哎，母亲是苏联的。
苏联的。哦，你的
爸爸是辽
那都
宁
是这些
哦
老红军的。
哦，妈妈 русская。
二战。
哦，много забила。啊，没关系。
咱们把中国这些。
без проблем, нормально.
русская.
Америки. Америки.
Америка.
Но я люблю Россию, Китай.
Как меня звать? По-русски?
По-русски.
他是3代。
Марина.
Марина. Марина, очень приятно. Так, она твоя дочка.
这句话你他说苏联话。
所以他是你的母亲。对，他跟我说了，对，明白了，哇，就是太有意思了。
他那个这个你说就是说俄罗斯话的是啥呢？
懂得。
太少了。我妈和我爸活的那个，人家俩人定家说苏俄语。
我也有奶奶呀，我奶奶也是。
所以他没有你的血统近。
I like how my driver never stops smoking.
懂得声，那个多半那个
90多了，哇，蛮大的。
过来一吧。
我希望我有一天到达你的年纪，但是你知道吗？
还照相啊？
你很有俄罗斯的样子。
别照了，不好看。我这
他这都
干活的，
他这都照着呢，照张相。
你们都很像，对。你没有教给他俄语吗？
教
也学不会呀，学不会。
啊，对的，OK。
你孙女呢？
Как тебе звать?
Tommy，
他是纯粹。
Thomas，我的中文名呼呼。对，因为我留胡子。
你这胡子好看。
很高兴认识你，再见。Apparently there is like a little Russian restaurant. There's an old lady that runs it.
他就是针对旅游的呗。
But it only opens like at night, I guess.
哎，快往那边啊！哎。
That was super interesting. So here you can see the Restaurant Russia, the Russian restaurant. And then right next to it, you have a message celebrating the Chinese military, just so you don't forget who actually controls this land. So that's fun. 94. Kind of like how we saw in the Korean region, a lot of stuff is bilingual here, both Chinese and Russian. This seems to be like a kind of stage. I guess if they're having like some town events, people come up, do a little performance. We do some Russian dancing. Whatever Russian dancing is. That dance where they get on their knees like this. That kind of dance. I don't know how they do that. This is an extremely rural town. It's basically just one road. And in terms of Russian Chinese people, as we saw, they're basically all second, third, fourth, fifth generation. There have been Russians coming to China ever since the 17th, 18th century. You had Cossacks, you had Russians that were just going off doing their own thing. When the Soviets came into power, many Russians escaped over the border and came down here into northeastern China. At that time, there was actually a thriving Russian community. Many thousands, up to 100,000. And they got to continue living, well, more or less a normal life, a capitalist life. Then, of course, the Japanese came. The Japanese, during that time, were brutal to all of China. And the Russians were no exception. And then, finally, Mao Zedong came into power. And with his kind of crazy reforms, there wasn't much reason to stay in China. Given how absolutely turbulent and crazy of a place China was from the 1930s onwards, it is kind of a miracle that you have anything like a Russian Chinese community. I really don't know how any Russian person decided to stay here throughout the Mao Zedong years, but they did. And as a matter of fact, while all the Russian Chinese that we met are mixed in some way with the local Chinese population, which is not a surprise, there actually are full-blooded Russian Chinese people. That is, they completely look like the Russian settlers that came over centuries ago. They look like modern-day Russian people. There's even one that became kind of like a social media star here in China. He just goes and shows off his farm, shows off his Chinese family. And the man doesn't speak Russian at all. He just speaks Chinese. 那是什么东西？麦子？豆子。豆子。
拍照。
你要拍照吗 ？OK， 哦，你就是要拍我，好的。That man just didn't want a picture with me. He just wanted a picture of me. Got some fresh corn loaded up right here. Ah, here you go. This is the guy right here. As you can see, this is also a super Russian looking dude. They're all Chinese. None of them speak Russian. The sign says, "Build a fortress of national unity." That's a hell of a phrase right there. Wow, so I was trying to figure out why there's a bunch of barbed wire along the river here. And it turns out it's because this is the actual border between China and Russia. Russia is right over there. That's the Amur River, or the Heilongjiang, as the Chinese call it. Wow, out of all of China's borders, this has to be one of the least stressful. I'm pretty sure there's actually nobody here. I kind of hope I'm not doing anything illegal at the moment. You know, what's also crazy about this village is if Russia is right over there, right across that river, for all these decades, if you were Russian, you could have easily gone back. Well, easily. I mean, it's the time of the Soviet Union and Mao Zedong. I don't think anybody was crossing that border easily. Somebody's got their little cow farm right here on the border with the river, and they're using the border fencing as like a fence to keep their cows in. Chinese ingenuity. This is a Bianjing ma? Okay. Bye. So wild. At some point, probably 100 years ago, their ancestors crossed that river over here and never went back. Okay, apparently the restaurant Russia is open now.
然后上面放冰淇淋。
有这个吗？
不是这个，那个只是一个图片。
就是这边。好的。
不好意思啊。
啊，没关系。有厕所吗？我可以上厕所。好的。I lost most of my interest in this place. Nothing to do with Russia, really. Just gonna go to the bathroom. Oof. We've really reached the end of the road here. Nothing but farmland, as far as the eye can see. And I think that is a symbol of the end of our series in China. What has it been, like 8 videos now? Haven't changed countries in a while here. came in to the western border into Xinjiang. We traveled across the country. We passed both ends of the Great Wall. We went into the capital of China, Beijing, and also their new capital. And then we went along the North Korean border and saw what was going on there, while suffering a few issues along the way. We're certainly not done with China. There's still so much more to see. But after this, it's time to go back to crossing borders. We gotta reach the Pacific Ocean. We haven't made it yet. And to get to it, we're gonna have to go back into an old friend. So from the far north of China, 再见, and I'll see you on the other side of the river.